Welcome back. If you just joined us watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has dismissed reports of the Governors' Forum demanded the resignation of the national chairman. A statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Pt.2, said that the national chairman of the PDP, Adamu Muazu, did not walk out of the meeting of governors, neither was he ill-treated at the meeting, contrary to reports in some sections of the media. According to him, to put the record straight, our national chairman, upon invitation by the governors, attended the meeting alongside our deputy national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, and the national legal advisor, Barrister Victor Kwom, and left after a brief and fulfilled discussion with the governors. He was not at any time asked to resign, and nothing close to such was ever insinuated at that meeting. He then clarified that as duly elected organ of the party, the guaranteed tenure for the National Working Committee expires on March 2016. The Southeast Zone has also joined in lobbying for a place in the government of General Muhammadu Buhari. Leading the delegation on the visit to the President-elect, the Imo State Governor, Rochas Okorocha, asked General Buhari not to forget the people of the Southeast in the new scheme of things.
That to give this group of people the commercial nerve center of Nigeria a sense of belonging. Staffers can be relaxed. Well, I've heard you said we have no control over this, but the National Assembly will decide what they do. But the word from the father will make a whole lot of difference. We're not asking for anything, we're asking to be considered. It will govern our house, Your Excellency, that if at all this exercise, someone from a southern easterner is seen as deputy speaker or speaker of the federal house, it will further strengthen who we are in this house. East. So what I do to you, to use the elder statesman's eye to look at our situation.
What we're expecting from this government is that our people should benefit. Our people have been following PDP, they got nothing. The second Niger bill you're talking about has just been on paper. They've deceived our people. No good roads in the southeast. Nothing is happening in the southeast, but they say PDP, PDP, PDP. So right now we want to see a change, want to see real governance, and want to see government that tells the people the truth, and we want our people to participate in democracy.
Let's turn to the lawmakers now. The 7th Assembly is in its twilight days, and the race is on to see who would occupy the seats of the principal officers in the Senate and the House of Representatives. Our correspondent Linda Kiwe examines some of the issues thrown up so far in what many say would be a keenly contested election for the position of principal officers in the National Assembly.
Underground negotiations, hard bargaining, just some of the terms to describe what has been going on behind the scenes in the National Assembly in the past few days. Away from prying eyes, federal legislators have been engaging in high-level lobbying for the seats of the principal officers of the National Assembly, notably the position of Senate and Deputy Senate President, as well as the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. But there have been speculations that the APC may be zoning the seats of the Senate President to either the North Central or Northeast and the Speaker to the Northwest or Northeast. The major contenders for the Senate President appears to be two former governors, Senator Bukola Saraki from Kwara State and Senator George Akume from Benue, as well as Senator Ahmad Lawan and Senator Ali Ndume from the Northeast. For the position of Speaker, the major contenders are Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, Honorable Jubril Abdul Mumuni, and Honorable Yakubu Dogara. In what is expected to be a keenly contested election for these seats, some federal lawmakers told Channels Television some of the key attributes which they look for in the principal officers.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives have to be very vast, not just in parliamentary issues. There must be a Senate president that must live above board, live above party lines.
The rule of the Senate and the House of Representatives, as contained in the standing order of both houses, is that whoever must be a principal officer must be a ranking lawmaker. A ranking lawmaker is someone who has been re-elected to the National Assembly more than once, either in the Senate or House of Representatives. However, this means that the race for the seats for principal officers in the National Assembly is closed to first-time lawmakers. Apparently, some first-time lawmakers, who by the way make up nearly 70% of the legislators in the incoming 8th Assembly, are finding this hard to swallow.
There can be a senior among equals, but nobody will lord it over us.
There are some of the ranking members that you're having now that I don't even believe that they have even raised the motion on the floor of the House.
But some lawmakers disagree.
I only say that it makes me laugh. You can't just graduate overnight. And the process of leadership, we were there before, the process of leadership is by experience.
Neither the Senate nor the House of Representatives is making any moves to change this rule on ranking at the moment. The 8th National Assembly is set to officially resume in June, and immediately after lawmakers are sworn in, Nigerians should expect to see a keenly contested election for the seats of the principal officers of the National Assembly. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.
Following the official public release of the forensic audit report on the alleged missing oil revenue from the Federation coffers, mixed reactions have continued to trail the report's content. In our big story tonight, our energy correspondent Olu Phillips examines the issues and the president-elect's promise to review the allegations.
If oil is and continues to be the dominant revenue source for Nigeria, then it should not be difficult to understand why there is a growing concern on how it is managed. Since the 70s, the NNPC and the Ministry of Petroleum have been responsible for managing oil resources in Nigeria. When the news of NNPC non-remittance of $49.8 billion broke, it initially sounded like a familiar tune, but this time, the whistleblower is someone you cannot ignore, Malam Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, in his letter to President Goodluck Jonathan. That, of course, led to a floodgate of reactions and denials from the corporation.
The statement credited to the CBN governor that NNPC has failed to remit the sum of $49.8 billion, representing 76% of total national oil receipts, is born out of a surprisingly lack of understanding of how revenues from crude oil sales are remitted into the Federation account.
Exactly December 13, 2013, the NNPC responded, prompting the setup of a reconciliation committee comprising representatives of the CBN, NNPC, DPR, FIRS, the Budget Office, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Petroleum. December 18, 2013, the committee briefed the press. At this meeting, the former CBN governor reversed himself for $49.8 billion, claiming only $12 billion was the shortfall.
We did not see the letter as the conclusion of an investigation, but an invitation to investigate. So the conclusion that $49.8 billion was missing was wrong, even though we had the allegation that was unlimited. There is a general consensus among us on this table that there is a shortfall, even though the amount is being disputed. For us in Central Bank, the shortfall in the period is about $12 billion.
I take it from the verbal summary that was submitted that whatever letter he must have written, which gave a particular figure of about 49.8 to be reconciled, it looks like at this moment what may need to be reconciled is about 12 billion, judging from his oral submission, and that they are just in the process of reconciling that.
Yes. No, I just wanted to add that we found about 10.8 billion.
With agreements at some point and disagreements at other times, PricewaterhouseCoopers were officially appointed by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to conduct a forensic investigation. Done with, the report was presented to President Goodluck Jonathan, who transmitted same to the Auditor General for a public presentation.
Based on the work conducted by PwC, their conclusions are as follows. The total gross revenue generated from the federal government crude oil listings was $69.34 billion and not $67 billion as earlier stated by the Senate Reconciliation Committee for the period.
Well, I think that all in all, I am on the one hand very pleased that PwC has finished their audit and done an in-depth audit on it. On the other hand, I am very disappointed. Disappointed that we have come to a stage in the polity and the politics of this country where major issues, where we would expect fiscal responsibility in terms of utterances and decisions or issues that are put on a global stage that affect our country in the way and manner that this particular discourse has affected us globally in a very negative sense will be put out so irresponsibly. There was never any missing monies.
Less than 12 months after, Mr. President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari popped up those whooping amounts saying he will revisit the allegation, and that perhaps prompted the current government to order a public presentation of the PwC report.
President Jonathan is also deeply concerned by the continuing suggestions that his administration still has anything to hide about the unproven allegation that about $20 billion is unaccounted for by the NNPC during his tenure.
Hogging the headlines since then is the content of the report. Some say it's not a bankable document, others believe its contents carrying the seal of PwC's integrity can so be relied on.
The content of the report has clearly shown this country as a nation that doesn't have proper accounting. Where if you look through it, you will see the observation of the auditors clearly written that they have limited information and their submission and observations are based on the little information they have.
If there is a definite amount of money missing, even if the amount of money is in the export, the best the incoming administration would do is to start on a very clean note, to try and pocket further, to establish the veracity and the certainty of the amount that is missing.
The figures quoted by the Accountant General is at variance with the figures quoted by the NNPC. It's different from the one quoted by the CBN, and sometimes at variance with what's quoted by Finance Ministry. So there are a lot of things wrong with the entire system.
Back to the money General Buhari says is too huge to be ignored. How much does the report really say about the missing money? Is the $1.4 billion recommended as refund the only unaccounted or remitted money found in the investigation? What steps should be taken to address the operational deficiencies of the corporation, which the report claims is unsustainable? Will the General launch a new and independent investigation, judging by a proviso in the PwC's report that the document was meant for the Auditor General and not a third party? It's clear that there are sufficient evidences to suggest that many still doubt no monies were missing. How will this be cleared? Whether $49 billion, $20 billion, $12 billion, 10.8 or $1, Nigeria's crude is for the benefit of all. No sale of a drop should go unaccounted for. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
When Beneath at 10 returns, the day's major stories on business news. Please join us again.